Twist a Strong Female Lead. This is Tessa.
And this is Tricia.
And today we're talking about Suicide Squad. But first, Tricia, what have you been watching?
Well, I watched this a couple weeks ago. I meant to bring it up to you. I forgot. Now I remember. Midsommar? Is that how you say it?
Oh, yeah. The Scandinavian horror movie. Well, it's about Scandinavia.
I was so frightened that at the end, for maybe the last 10 minutes or so, I was crying without tears. So just my face was doing tears. Like a crying face, but I just couldn't produce the tears. I was very scared. I don't know if that's a thing, but I was very scared. And then afterwards, Zach got up to go to the bedroom and he yelled over, "I'm not okay." And then I stayed in here in the TV room and cried for about 5 minutes, a little more, and then went to the bedroom and Zach had to cuddle me for a while and tell me that it was okay. And I have never, ever been that terrified. It was the final scene, the whole scene
the
where the bear and her choosing to kill him and the whole, and so Zach was like, "It's not real. It's not real. Are you scared that, that would never happen? That would never happen. Like, are you scared that I would, do that to you?" And I was like, "Or I to you?" And then I just started crying again. What? Fully insane. I lost my goddamn mind.
Oh my god. I'm so surprised you had such a reaction. I hated that movie. I hated it so much.
Why'd you hate it? It was so good.
It was so transparent. I was like, I figured the movie out within 15 minutes. He really hits it over the head. If you watch it again, the imagery, the paintings on the wall, everything she's saying, I'm like,
did you see it more than once?
No, I saw it one time, and I would never recommend watch. I don't get why people. I think cinematography, the cinematography for the film, phenomenal. He is an amazing director.
Yeah, he is.
He does amazing things. I like the idea of being scared in the daylight, and I think that's what cognitively is fucking with people. But in terms of content, I was like, I have a lot of friends who are Scandinavian, so when they jump off the rock, I knew what he was saying, and I was like, okay, well, for everyone who has no familiarity with this custom, this is very traumatic, and you would react like they did in the crowd, and I was like, I've seen this before, I've heard this before. I thought she was really beautiful in that flower wheelchair or whatever. Whatever that was.
In the adorned.
Yeah, the adorned wheelchair.
Actually, she had a full flower out, just her head at one point.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's not the worst way you can go out. But yeah, her hysteria, I just didn't really feel connected to her at all.
I don't think that I knew that she had been traumatized, but I didn't necessarily feel connected to her emotionally. He's the biggest dickhead in the world. Why the fuck is she with him and zero empathy for what she went through? She may be dramatic. She may there may be exhausting parts to the relationship, maybe because of what she's going through, and she needs a lot from him then. But I was kind of cold, and his friends, super cold. I don't imagine guys sitting around being like, fuck her. Her sister just killed herself and her parents ignore her call. Really?
Well, her parents were dead. They didn't ignore her.
No. The friends were saying ignore the girlfriend's call.
Oh.
I was like, shit. Maybe guys are that shitty. I don't know. That seemed very cheaty.
Yeah, I didn't.
Cheaty.
Cheaty. I was like, God damn it.
No,
it's Sommer. It's Sommer, but I'm not
okay.
Swedish, so I'm not even going to attempt to do it in the right sense.
I was like, am I saying it wrong? Is that a Shakespearean way of saying it? Midsommar
Just the
Dream?
English way.
Oh, God. I know what you mean. I sort of think that she knew that something was up from the beginning, but I think that there was an emotional, emotional neediness or something going on to where it overpowered. So her need to have the boyfriend be with her, be okay, have them be together was more powerful than that voice inside of her. I don't think she listened to it, but I think there are points where she makes a face, she asks questions in the very beginning, and then just lets it go. And then part of me wonders if it's overpowering because she wants to be with her boyfriend. And the other part is, who gives a fuck what happens? Yeah. Because my life doesn't really...
Yeah, but part of me just doesn't believe that she would let it go. If you've just experienced a tragedy of this magnitude because you weren't, in her mind, paying close enough attention to the signs, and then you're constantly getting signs and you're not paying attention, that seemed unrealistic to me. And it was way too fucking long.
And she found her family. The cult then became her family.
And the painting in the background of the apartment that they lived in, and I was like, where did this come from? No one's asking any questions.
Oh, so I didn't. I
the
read
bear
about
and the little
later.
girl, and like I was like, come on, dude.
I read about that later.
I felt the same way about Hereditary. I was like, he really beats the things over the head. Like, for me, he makes it very obvious what's going on. Still, I mean, I'm not gonna say don't go see it.
Well, smarty pants. I didn't see any of these things, and like I could kind of guess what was going on, but not. I mean, I knew pretty early on that they were the sacrifice. You know, they were there to be sacrificed, but I didn't see how it was going to play, and I did not see that bear head costume / like taxidermy human situation and the burning. I did not see that. I did not see her smiling at the end. I was frightened, and I was emotionally scared. I was also hungover.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Admittedly, that was the day after the engagement party.
Oh.
So my threshold was a little less.
This makes sense. Okay, this makes it crying. Like, I don't know if you're gonna murder me or I might murder you. And I was like, I don't. But speaking of haunted things, I have been watching Haunted on Netflix, and it's amazing. I love this show. I loved the first season, and I was actually surprised that there was a second. I don't know why I didn't think it was coming back. But season 1, there's an episode where this woman's she lives in upstate New York, and the house that her family grows up in is supposedly haunted. Like, her parents murder people for fun, but they think that they think that there's a demon who's attached to the property, who's kind of like an Amityville horror type thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that episode's really good. And then in season 2, I'm only like 4 episodes into season 2, but there's an episode where a guy is in a cult, or his family joins a cult. Yeah, the little Children of God. The same one as Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin.
Come on our podcast.
Yeah. You know what? If you're sick of LA, Chicago is real nice.
Yeah.
Got 4 seasons.
Bring Rooney.
Don't bring Rooney.
Bring Rooney!
You can leave her.
Oh. Yeah, maybe I won't. Joaquin all to myself, and I'll share them with you.
I don't like those Mara sisters. I just think they're so I would not be friends with them in real life. I don't like either one. I'm like,
really?
No.
I think they're beautiful, but I can't really speak to the acting. I mean, it's good, but not.
I think definitely Rooney is the more serious one, but
yeah, because she doesn't smile, and that's just the pictures I've never seen her smile on. But okay,
yeah,
so
I digress.
Yeah, right.
But the Children of God cult. So it's a story of this man. Where his brother, and his mom all become a part of the cult. And in the cult, everyone is suspected of having a demon or something. So they think he has a demon, so they try to exorcise him, the gay demon, out of him. So it details his torture at this, like, boys'
demon. A demon.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean...
The demon that's causing him to be gay, or the gay demon living inside of him?
I don't know what a gay demon would be like.
I don't either.
But so he goes through, like, how he was tortured at conversion camp, and how he, like, sees a demon, and, like, he's, like, sexually assaulted while he's at the camp, and then it's really a horrific story. But it has a good ending, so I'll leave it there. So you should watch The Haunting. Or maybe it's just Haunted. It's just Haunted on Netflix. Both seasons. Watch them both.
It sounds good. And Children of God, I watched a documentary on them. I didn't know anything about that. At least I don't remember the exorcising of demons and stuff, but
I
wild.
Never heard of this particular cult until right now, and I was like, oh.
There's so many of them.
Well, apparently like the 70s was just ripe with cults. Ripe with cults. And I was like, what was going on cognitively, like, in the nation, in the world, that had spawned so many in one decade, seemingly?
I think the Vietnam era.
Vietnam? But it was, well...
I mean, not necessarily Children of God. I don't know when that developed, but I think, like, the Vietnam era and people feeling kind of lost and not knowing what the government was up to and feel like disassociating themselves. And I don't know. I feel like maybe as a non-historian, maybe some of that had to do with, like, Manson. And my question is, why do they all want to be rock stars too? The cult leaders. It's so funny to me. Like, they all had these, like...
There's much difference between celebrity and the fame that comes with celebrity and the fame that comes with being some sort of dictator.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But, like, but music in particular. Like, I listened to your NXIVM.
Yeah.
Your NXIVM episode on Lifetime Uncorked. You guys should tune in. Lifetime Uncorked. Yeah. It was a recent episode, and it just came out last week, I think. And you were talking about him playing, I have to watch the movie, but him playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Terrible.
But they have these, like, musical ambitions, like Manson did too. There's also the Source family, and the leader of that cult did, and you can find their music, and it's always horrible.
It's always horrible. But I do think there's something to, like, ecstatic praise and getting people to that ecstatic praise point is what I'm going to call it.
Oh my god, that could be like an anthropological. Wait, is it Yeah, anthropology. Yeah, you can have you should write a thesis on praise points.
Praise point, which is funny because I was in, like, a traveling gospel choir for a long time.
You were?
Yeah, I digress though. Back to praise points.
Oh my god, thank you for that nugget.
Oh yeah, but I think there's something like a lot of them have, like, they're jumping in the air and they're chanting and all this stuff, but it is hypnotic. Yeah. And so maybe that has something to do. But I'm like, I could never be ecstatically praising terrible NXIVM music because that guy had a horrible voice and so did that girl. She was fucking horrible.
I listened to the podcast, Escaping NXIVM, but I've got to watch
Download the Lifetime app. You can watch the movie for free. So... Just, I'm saving my you get like 3 or 4 credits, and I'm saving my credits for the holiday movies because they look amazing.
Well, Very excited. One came out yesterday.
A holiday movie? A Christmas movie?
No, the college admission scandal.
Oh, how did that go? Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet. I have the Lifetime app. I think I might have access today if it came out yesterday. I don't know. I have to see it because, speaking of Lifetime Uncorked, guys, I'm going on Lifetime Uncorked tomorrow to help to co-host for the college admission scandal episode, but I don't know when that'll be coming out. But anyways, you guys should just listen to that podcast.
Yeah, Patrick is the best.
He's awesome. And so,
shout out to Drew too.
And Drew, of course.
Our guys holding the whole ship together. Drew.
I know, Drew, the producer.
Yeah.
And the co-host who doesn't watch the movies, which I think is a hilarious twist. Love when people do that. Have you listened to The Dollop?
No.
That's a like a comedy history podcast, and one guy goes on not knowing what they're going to be talking about, and he's a comedian, and then the other one is comedian too, and he talks about, and they're like crazy stories from history.
I love history because I spend a lot of money to study it.
Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah. So now it's time to talk about Suicide Squad. I warned you earlier. So just to give a quick little synopsis, Suicide Squad takes place 1 year after Batman versus Superman. So at the end of that movie, spoiler alert, Superman is thought to be dead. So now all of the supervillains think that there's no, like, ultimate trump card.
Is it Batman is thought to be dead or Superman?
Superman. Batman is alive, but he's only really interested in protecting and uplifting Gotham.
Oh, right. You saw him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he gets Will Smith. Um, so, Suicide Squad takes place 1 year after Superman's death. And intelligence officer Amanda Waller convinces Washington, D.C. officials to allow her to assemble a Task Force X, otherwise known as a Suicide Squad, full of villains to take on whatever superhuman threats will be coming their way, and when they get their first mission, which is to take down the Enchantress. Dun dun dun! Chaos ensues, marvelous things happen, Suicide Squad begins.
That was fantastic. Thank you.
So, first impressions, what did you think?
I thought the movie was fun. I loved it. I loved the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack is amazing.
It was so good. It pumped me up. I love how each song sort of catered to the character a little bit and the vibe we were supposed to be getting from them. Especially, I love the introduction of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Played by Margot Robbie. And just her doing her acro, yoga, sitch, playing with her hair, like seemingly having the time of her life inside of a prison. And to the music that was playing, you don't know me. That song, oh God, it was...
I love that, yeah. The rendition on the soundtrack is fantastic.
So good. I mean, my brain broke a couple of times because I don't know a lot of the background. So for me personally, as someone who doesn't know that much about the DC universe or the DC extended universe, which I do have questions, I did a little research, I don't understand, but like those, when they would show who the person was, and it would be like, and the words would go across the screen and tell you their name and what they did. It was all very, very fast. The font wasn't large enough for me. And I was pausing and then rewatching, and then I just stopped because the movie itself is 2 hours. So I was just like, okay, villain, powers, villain. Yeah. And I couldn't keep up with that. So it was all very fast with the introduction, and there's so many characters. But this movie wasn't for me, I can tell. I mean, it was for fans of the universe.
Right.
You know, so I understood that and just took it and enjoyed it. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah. DC has had a really, really hard time putting together their universe. In my opinion, DC's villains are more impressive and more interesting than their superheroes. I've never been partial to Batman or Superman. I don't like perfection, and I don't like that Batman's superpower is money and arrogance. But I love the DC villains. I love Joker. Side plug, if you haven't already seen Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, it's phenomenal.
Gotta see it.
It's everything. Him and Heath Ledger's portrayal, between the two of them, I feel like they get the Joker that I see, who is funhouse mirror opposites to Batman. You see how the Joker's life story plays into how Batman's origin begins, which that's already known. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's already known, but it's really staggering, the performance and the portrayal of like the Joker having mental illness and severe trauma, and then living in a city like Gotham, which, you know, I'm going to go ahead and call a simile of Chicago, because, you know, all the Dark Knights are here, so haha. Yeah, and then Central City would be New York, and I think everyone can agree with.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love villains, and I love, oh yes, guys, this is our third installment of Strong Female Villain. Yeah. P.S. So, just, okay. I'm trying to keep. What
did we say? Guys, chime in whenever you feel like it.
Trying to keep organized. Sometimes we forget what we're actually doing.
So excited to see each other and talk about these movies.
I try to remember that maybe someone who's not listening might just jump into an episode and they haven't listened to us, and I'm like, maybe I should say that. Yeah. So this is the third installment. Okay. Love the villains, love the human aspects to them. I know that they're some of them have superpowers, some of them don't. That's a little confusing to me, but I like that they're people rather than in Marvel. they're just like entities?
Well, most of the Marvel characters are like X-Men, so they're men. They start out as regular old people, and then they interact with something called a Terrigen Crystal, and then they get like some sort of superpower. And then there are some who are actually X-Men who are born just with an extra gene that makes them special. Haha, Gina's character. For all you nerds out there, I heard it too. So something like a Dark Phoenix is like hit with cosmic radiation, and she becomes Dark Phoenix.
So they are humans, but I guess, okay, then
these
are
people are
flawed
flawed people. Yeah.
So they have addiction or mental illness or some sort of huge flaw, like Jessica Jones is an alcoholic, PTSD. Like that kind of thing. I like.
Yeah, it's your more unlikely hero who doesn't drop their backstory when they are called into action.
Yeah.
These people keep their flaws, in my opinion, through either becoming a villain, and that is what fuels their characters' actions as villains, and it also fuels their actions as heroes, which is why Batman is so icky to me, because I was like, you learn nothing. You just learn nothing, and like you can't be mad at Joker and then like Batman. I just love Joker so much.
I don't know. I know Batman.
New character look, trademarked.
I know.
Batman.
The Batman. He's got an extra strong, powerful, superpowered back
of steel. Oh no, that's Superman.
All right. Batman lost his parents.
Yes.
But other than that, like, what is his superpower? Can he fly?
No. He has no superpowers. Like, he has no...
Okay.
Super strength. He has no mind control or anything like that. So his parents die, and he's raised by his butler.
Nice.
Winston Watson.
I did watch the old Batman in the 90s, but I don't remember the backstory.
Yeah, and so like eventually he goes into training with a guy whose name is Ra's al Ghul. So, and Ra's al Ghul kind of teaches him how to be a ninja of sorts, but Ra's al Ghul actually has like magic and things on his side. He has a daughter, shows up in Dark Knight Rises, tries to kill Batman. It's my favorite movie.
Okay.
And then so Batman, that's where he learns like all this like the way of, I'm gonna call it the samurai, but like
would you say money
and arrogance are his real superpowers. How does he get out of most situations?
Oh, so what you're defining as?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He doesn't actually. Yeah. He doesn't actually have his.
I don't remember that.
But when you're a Wayne Enterprises is like the equivalent to like an Amazon type company where he's making $1 billion a day, just from investments, and so he's got all these tools and tech, and arrogance. How does he get out of most situations? He talks his way out.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we saw a little bit of that in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
At the very
and
end.
He's never held to account, which is funny because Batman versus Superman, Batman is chasing down Superman because he's this extraterrestrial threat, but like now he's on our side. Should he change his mind, he's the biggest threat to the entire globe.
Isn't Superman dead though, or not really dead?
He is not dead. Spoilers.
Oops.
Well, I'm like, you're a couple years out if you haven't seen the next, just the first Justice League movie. Then.
Oh my God, this is very confusing.
Justice League. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
There's a ton going on. It's just as complicated as the Marvel universe, just way less explanation because the movies aren't as good.
Yeah, it seems like you would only fully understand the background if you've seen all of them, or you read about it, or if you read the comic books, which then have a lot of the context, I would think.
Right. I like DC because I think that they've, for whatever reason, they can't get TV together, or they can't get movies together, but they really do a great job at TV in building their characters and universes and bringing in a lot of backstory and keeping a lot of things to the comic book in their TV shows. I think most of them are on CW or Netflix.
They used to be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so that's where
those
you get
are really good. Yeah, I didn't grow up reading DC.
God, so you have to go through 3 different types of medium of entertainment.
Well, I mean, you can go straight to the comics if you wanted, that would be the easiest way, but...
It's just good for them. They've branched out and they're making a ton of money, but that's very confusing.
Yeah, I think Marvel is way more confusing. They have, I think that they just have more characters.
Oh my God.
Like the next iteration of the Marvel Universe is going to be wacky. These are a lot of like lesser known characters, and like this is like the past season, I don't know, Universe 3, whatever people are calling it. These are all well-known characters. Like, you know, your laymen, your casual viewers and readers will be able to pick out, like, Iron Man and Captain America and all of these people. The next one is going to be kind of for Marvel heads.
Oh my God.
You like the universe, you're, like, down to do your own research because you're not going to get everything, but yeah, so exciting.
Oh my God. In terms of this movie, I like the idea, I just love in general when the FBI or CIA or whatever operation that is trying to save, you know, the city or the state or the country, they bring in, like, quote unquote bad guys to do their work for them.
Yeah.
I love that. It happens in real life. It happens, you know, in movies, and, like, it just, I don't know, something about that I just like. Yeah. That they're working together, and there's all these moral ambiguities with it, but, like, that stuff aside, I just kind of, I don't know, I love it, and this was an example of that.
Yeah, I like that they bring in, and I mean, they do this in Marvel, but I think they do it in a more tangible way in these DC movies, the aspects of, like, reality, and that there would be a government operating and trying to prepare for an alien threat and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, there's always the question of, like, what is your duty? Are these people human? How should we treat them? If you've got powers that are so supernatural.
Right.
Not necessarily. Well, one of them does have ghosts, a power of ghosts. So, cool.
How do you control them so that they will they will perform their function, but then not turn on you.
Yeah.
And they do that by implanting a little chip that they can basically just blow them up.
Yeah. Well, like, they're kind of doing the whole government thing where you pretty much enslave the problem. And I was like, so we haven't learned anything in a couple hundred years. And that, because I'm like, they are pretty much slaves. And being tortured in order to, you know, to do the bidding of the, not the U.S. government, but the New World Order. I don't know.
Gotham government. I don't know.
Yeah, the government.
I mean, I like when you work together with the bad guys, but then there are.
It becomes very unclear who is a bad guy, and that's what I like. No one should trust the government. Everyone should be suspicious. That's not a conspiracy. That's just real life, real facts. You should question everything. Government is working for you, and you're being represented by people in government. So question everything. Do your research.
You definitely should question everything, because in order to keep a government functioning, their fingers are dipped in lots of different pots in order to make it happen. And so there's always, like, a dark side that's going on with it.
So I think we should just go through. There's only 4 female characters in Suicide Squad. So I'm just going to say that we go through these in my order of least favorite to most favorite, and most likely an SFL.
Awesome. So before we do it, though, so here on Strong Female Lead, what we do is, obviously, we talk about the movie and we bullshit, but then we discuss the female characters in more depth, or at length. It's hard to podcast because sometimes the words.
There's so many words we've used today.
There's words. So we kind of investigate those characters, and we tease out the qualities that we think lend themselves to a strong female lead. We talk about representation of females and the portrayal of them in the movie, etc., etc. So with that, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so contestant number 1 is Katana. She shows up at about halfway through the movie. So Katana is...
Did you say contestant number 1?
Yeah.
Contestant number 1! Come on down! Okay, love that.
But yeah, she shows up about halfway through the movie on one of the, like, big jets. I don't know where she came from. She must have flown up to the jet and
she really
landed.
just appeared.
Yeah, she just... Okay, well... but she's a Japanese character whose superpower, quote unquote, is she has a cursed blade that's been cursed, and whoever is cut by that blade is soul is captured within the blade of the katana, which is the sword. So.
That is a very heavy sword then. And what, it's just like...
No, your spirit doesn't weigh anything. What are you talking about?
It just... I meant more like heavy spiritually, but I do like the idea that it's just too big for this,
She's
like,
dragging
small
it around.
woman. She's like, I can't lift it to slice this person.
Yeah. But then she's talking to it at some points, because her husband was killed by that blade.
So her husband's in the blade, so these souls are killing people too.
No, he was killed by that blade.
Yeah, but their souls are trapped in the blade, so aren't they actually killing the people with their soul in the blade? Physically.
I mean, okay.
Because I don't get it. I don't understand clearly.
The blade is just cursed, and that anyone who is killed by it is just associated.
Cursed.
But you're saying that, like, a piece of their soul is killing other people also because it's attached to the cursed
I think
sword?
it's there's a genetic predisposition
to being murdered.
Genetic predisposition to the sword, and behavioral. It's a behavioral issue. Oh God! Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
The need to ninja.
The need to ninja. We need to make a shirt.
Yeah, we should. First SFL shirt, the need to ninja.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay.
But yeah, I did not like this character. I did not know why she was being introduced, why she was necessary. She played absolutely no part in the saving of the world.
She did not keep the villains in line.
No, because she just showed up and disappeared whenever she wants. And I'm like, I guess that's part of being a ninja, but it's not helping a team.
Yeah, she wasn't very... She seemed very hardcore, especially in the beginning, and she was very powerful, wielding that heavy sword.
Yeah.
But she didn't do anything.
No, and it seems like she was introduced to kind of balance the scales in terms of her association with Joel Kinnaman's character. But also, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not necessary.
I didn't know the point of her.
No, and then I was like, to give her a weak backstory, and I'm sure that this is comic book aligned, that this is her actual backstory, but I'm wondering why she was ever introduced.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, didn't get it.
Was it an attempt to have more minority representation in this movie?
It's laden with minorities.
Because, yeah, that's true. But also, I hate those attempts where it's just a very, like, small character, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I hate this as a kind of a character trope where, I don't know, I noticed that a lot of Asian women in these fighting movies are always kind of a damaged girl without, like, emotions, but is, like, a very proficient fighter.
Oh, God, yeah.
You're right. But I'm like, I don't know what the trope would actually be called, but I was like, but they lose a piece of their humanity. Definitely, they are often, like, sexy, but, like, cold, sexy, like a snowman.
And that plays on the geisha
yeah.
sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that type of stereotype. And then, yeah, the very efficient and calculated, like almost like kung fu movies, too.
Yeah. And I'm like, and why not introduce this character in something that's going to fit more in line with, I don't know, and maybe she's always just a side character, but I'm like, I felt like they could have done a lot more to either show us her backstory, so that we feel a little bit more connected to her, or not introduce her at all. You know, fingers crossed she has a bigger role if she's back in the next movie, where she actually has some weight to her, but in terms of our SFL criteria of being top billed, no, she doesn't move the plot at all, and then she has absolutely no agency. Well, no, not absolutely. She has some agency, in that she's there for her own reasons.
I mean, but there's nothing for her to even have agency about. She has it. She comes.
Yeah, she seems to have her own mission and her own, like, marching orders that she's trying to kill everyone who was involved with killing her husband. But
they needed Ali Wong. They needed to bring Ali Wong into this role.
That would be really refreshing. Yeah,
to fill it out, and just she would bring in more. Yeah, just some humor, which would be great. She could play off of Will Smith pretty well, I think, and then also just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ali Wong that shit.
Yeah, I just don't understand why she has to be dead on the inside in order to be a proficient fighter. Nobody else was.
That's a trope.
Yeah.
You're right. Or not even dead on the inside, but like just shoved that part of her to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad for her. I was kind of like, I don't know why you're here. You could be just hanging out.
Yeah, she seems like she just like got on the wrong plane. Yeah, and I was like, I guess now I'm a part of this because, you know, flights are expensive, but but why?
Yeah, I agree. She didn't do that much for me. Okay, so who's the next one?
So next is the Enchantress / Dr. June Moon. Ugh. I think everyone knows that I fucking hate Enchantresses because they're rude. They're always rude. It seems like a trope that they didn't know was happening, but they're always fucking rude. And also, Dr. June Moon is a horrible anthropologist. Horrible. She's bad at her job, and so she deserves to be possessed, and then she deserves to die.
Yeah. Dr. June Moon, to me. I'm just even saying it. I'm not even trying to be funny.
It's a very comic book name, so it's just absolutely ridiculous.
I'm like, this is coming out of my mouth. Dr. June. I just wanted the Dr. June Moon is not an SFL at all to me.
No.
The Enchantress, I mean, yeah, she has her own agency. She's top billed. She obviously moves the plot along, so I think she is an SFL, but as for just the portrayal of this, I will say I liked Cara Delevingne much more in this role than I did in Valerian. But that being said, she didn't have to do much. So it was actually
she danced.
It was
the movie.
Actually kind of perfect. She clearly was not speaking. Mm-hmm. Right, so there's a voiceover. So she was just opening and closing her mouth, and sometimes not even like lined up with it. But and then she just did this like hip wiggle when she walked around. Like whenever she had to like walk, she did this hip wiggle. And I mean, they basically were like, you know what, Enchantress, why don't you be a Victoria's Secret model? Oh wait, let's just take a Victoria's Secret model and make her Enchantress. Okay, now I thought she was cool looking before she turned in. Yeah, but before she turned into the latest version of the Enchantress and had more powers, the first part that just had like black smoke around her. And you guys can't see, but I'm trying to do like the moves. I was like, I could keep Cara Delevingne in just that role forever. She didn't say anything. She just moved around.
So you couldn't model.
This is not the most SFL supportive type of conversation, but you're right.
Her second offense.
She looks good.
Yes.
She has fierce AF eyebrows, and when there's enough black smoke around her, and then you just see kind of the outline of her in her witchy lingerie, and she just sort of like moves kind of like a cat and stares at you. It's perfect. She's smizing. Yeah. She's doing it. That was perfect.
She was beautiful.
Beautiful.
I don't think that this required much of her in terms of acting, which was disappointing. I'm going to enact the Valerian defense and say that most of what was written for her was complete and utter shit.
Oh, in
her
this
dialogue,
movie?
I was like, did they not know the Enchantress? It seems like they didn't know the Enchantress and June Moon were the same person.
Yeah.
Like, maybe at some point these were separate people, and they're like, for time, let's just combine these two, and so we can get a villain.
Why was it so unknown?
Yeah, I was confused on why that character was the villain of the movie.
Yeah, was she a part of any other comic?
I've never heard of the Enchantress.
Jesus, she came in with a bang then.
She came in with a bang, but it does seem like sorry, what was I saying? Oh, don't you hate it when you get a text and you're just like, what are you talking about, Mom? Mom! But yeah, it did seem like there should have been a more evil villain. It doesn't seem like the Enchantress should have had that much to do with the plot, because in the beginning they're getting this ragtag group of suicide squatters together. Squatters. Together in order to face a hypothetical threat with the Enchantress under control. And I was like, so what was the existential threat before the Enchantress?
I thought they were just getting them on retainer for threats to come. But I don't know for sure. But then they just set them out to kill a model.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was like, there should have been, like, you know, something else should have happened. Because I remember them being in the conference room, and she's like, stabbing the heart of the Enchantress in order to get her.
Enchantress was supposed to work with them.
Yes, she's supposed to be on the team. And so I was like, well, why is she now rogue without any explanation?
And why
she just doesn't like Amanda Waller, which, I mean, is reasonable.
Is reasonable, but I don't understand what the threat was. I thought maybe it was just threats in general. And then the Enchantress so easily got away.
So easily. It seems to have never really been under Amanda Waller's control, because whenever she says, whispers Enchantress, and she's the Enchantress, and the Enchantress can do whatever the fuck she wants. Aside from get her own heart.
Yeah, except whoever has the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish, and it just, I don't know why, it bothered me that she had to say Enchantress to bring the Enchantress. I'm like, just another word. It just was so cheesy to me, just seeing her. I don't know why.
No, I hated that she had to lose her heart. It's a woman who's lost her heart.
Yeah.
And that's why she's
under control.
Under control of someone else. And is not, again, it's a stone woman who's, you know, unbridled wrath is why, you know, the Suicide Squad needs to be assembled.
They're going after a bunny boy. No. No, because there was no man that, like, the Enchantress was going after. I did think that it was her army was very scary. The people then with their faces.
Those look like Power Ranger putty people, whatever they're called. Those Power Ranger, like, mud people. That's exactly what those look like to me. Just like a 2019 version. I loved it.
That was very, very, very scary.
I loved it.
And did it look like... So I was a little confused. So maybe you can tell me. I thought Amanda Waller became a part of the army at the end. It looked like they were going to put it over her face.
Right. She was using, the Enchantress was using Amanda Waller in order to get the secrets to the government. So, like, where nuclear bombs were located and that type of thing. But she was, like, being, like, drained and dying and becoming, like, part of the Earth.
Oh, but she didn't die.
No, they saved her. Yeah.
But who saved her?
Suicide Squad. When they killed the Enchantress.
Oh, okay. Because then I saw she was hooked up, right? And then they had that thing at the end, which you told me they always have. You gotta wait past the credits. Yeah. And then it was like, she seems bad. Is she a villain? I mean, she already seemed like bad in that good way, right? But I was kind of like, but she's like,
but we gotta check her motives. Okay, so
exactly.
So let's move on. We're getting closer. Amanda Waller,
because her motives are very questionable.
Yeah. So what do you think of the Enchantress / Dr. June Moon? Is she an SFL?
Based on our definition, yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. I thought I had issues with the character, but I think that Enchantress was, not Dr. June Moon.
Oh, okay.
So if I had to separate them, the Enchantress was top billed, definitely moved the plot along, and agency is up there with the heart thing, but she did manage to get the heart back and then get some powers from Brother. So, like, she was making it happen.
She was.
And so based on that definition, yeah. But I mean, she did seem to be somewhat contained, obviously. Like, but I mean, she was blowing up the Earth. I mean, so
yeah,
that's a lot of power.
I know everyone just wants to reset the Earth. What?
I know.
That seems terrible.
They want to start over so that their starting over as the leaders. That's what I see it as.
Yeah, but I would just want to, like, somehow mind control, like, put things in the water. Like, that would be one of my plans. Like, I just want to control everyone who's on the Earth. We can coexist. As long as you do what I want.
Right.
That is so stupid.
You should try. You should try.
Oh, to control people from the water?
Yeah, just see what you can start, you know, in terms of, like...
I've got a plan going where it starts with legalizing weed in all 50 states, and then phase 2 can initiate.
Oh, wow. Towards... Are you going to use the weed to mind control?
Yeah.
Like, love that.
Yeah, it's a psychedelic. You'll never come back from your trip.
Oh, so you're going to make it much stronger and not let people know. I like it.
Watch out.
Guys, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful when you go to the cannabis shops now.
Especially when in Illinois.
And especially if there's a strain called Tessa.
Yeah, if there's a strain called SFL, don't smoke it.
Don't try that strain. Don't try that strain.
Or do. We're nice.
Or maybe do.
Yeah, we'd be great cult leaders. And, like, you know.
I don't want to be a cult leader.
Really?
No.
It does look like a lot of fun.
I want to be
I just want
in
someone
a
to
cult
let me
for
win a
short period of
volleyball
time.
game, or have everyone just, like, really praise me for mediocre singing.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, I like that. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Start a cult and I'll be the first cult member.
Well, I already did. Church of Latter-day SFLs.
Oh, right.
We've got 5 members now, so we're almost a board.
Oh, right. We already did. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, Drew and Patrick joined, so we're on our way.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, and I've got a couple other members. Yeah. We should start meetings.
Guys! We need to start a meeting of the collective.
Ooh, collective.
Call ourselves a collective. Okay.
I love it. But I agree. I would say that the Enchantress is an SFL. And Dr. June Moon is a waste of human space. I just, like, the first time we see Dr. June Moon, and she finds the artifacts and just immediately breaks the head off of one. And I was like, are you a fucking student archaeologist?
Yeah.
You look 10, and you're ruining everything. And I was like,
you know that you're not supposed to pick that stuff up, and you're certainly not supposed to break
it intentionally. It's not like, oh, I tripped. That was a clumsy June Moon. Strikes again. Yeah. No, she's just like, oh, look, a very old doll.
Well,
crack.
So we're going to get to this character, but that's the thing with the women and their professions.
Yeah, they're horrible
before they become villains. Like Margot Robbie or Harley Quinn's skills as a psychiatrist. She seems to not have the ability to separate herself from her patients. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, I'm in this career where it takes tons of education, tons of time, tons of dedication, and then I'm like,
undone by a man. Even a brother. Any dick.
They're just really not that, like, it. They just very quickly give up these
they're like, careers? That was stupid. I want to be a wife and a mom.
Or a sidekick.
Yeah. And if you try to kill me, I will forgive you.
Over and over and over.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's just move on to Harley Quinn. She's number 3 on the list.
Is that... Oh.
Or she's number 2 on the list.
Oh, got it. Okay.
We're counting down.
Okay, got it.
No. Harley Quinn. Dr. Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
I love this character. I think the way this movie was probably, in one of the drafts originally written to be her movie. I have a hot take in that I hate Will Smith in this movie. I hope he's not in the next one. I hope they recast his part. He's just too big an actor, and he chews up too much space, chews up too much scenery for me. I think he's obviously really good. He's a talented actor, but he takes up too much space with too small of a character. Nobody cares about Deadshot.
Oh, okay.
Nobody
so
cares.
As a DC fan, Deadshot isn't a big deal.
Well, to some people, but I'm like, this is Joker and Harley Quinn's movie, in my opinion. The Joker was extremely interesting, even though it's Jared Leto, and he was an asshole to everybody during the filming of this, and he was, like, so creepy. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's your foot. No, don't apologize. I just put my foot on your foot. And that's never comfortable for anyone when you're not expecting it.
But, like, apparently he was, like, sending used condoms to the cast. And, like,
Sorry, what?
Jared Leto during the filming.
Why?
And so Viola Davis was, like, not going to come back for the next one. Because he was just, like, doing, like, he was method, and he was just, like, all about being the Joker.
You don't have to be, like, gross.
Exactly. And I was like...
And be method to yourself.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm assuming that, like, they weren't actually used condoms. Like, he, like, stretched them out or, like, just, like, sent open.
And filled them with some, like...
Well, I would assume it's a joke, and that, like, nobody would, like, somehow send human fluids through the nail.
Well, then that's not very Joker. Because if Joker was going to do it...
Yeah, but he's not the Joker.
Yeah. It was... No, that's disgusting.
Especially to, like, living legends like Viola Davis. And it's like, she doesn't deserve that, and you are beneath her. Jared Leto.
Yeah, I mean, that's heinous. I have to... I mean, so I'm looking at this as someone who doesn't know that much about DC Comics and the universe. I've just seen a few movies. But I loved Will Smith in this. I thought he looked incredible. I love this facial hair. And I just haven't seen a lot of Will Smith movies in the past, like, 10, 15 years. Frankly, since, like, Independence Day. A few here and there. I saw The Hurricane. I don't know if it was called that. But I just don't watch a lot of action movies, so I haven't seen a lot of Will Smith. Mm-hmm. And I forgot how much I really liked him. Because I loved Fresh Prince, and I grew up with that and listening to his rap music with DJ Jazzy Jazz. Summertime. And parents just don't understand. Listen to him if you haven't heard him. I just don't... Yeah, I don't agree. I loved him. I thought he was funny, but he was larger.
He was a scene stealer.
Larger than life. He was so good that he was very big for the room.
Yeah, and I just wanted this to be about Joker and Harley Quinn, because I was like, he is painted to be... Joker is still painted... I think Joker should have been who Amanda Waller was trying to get in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's just on the run, because he outsmarted Batman yet again. And
why aren't they going after him?
I don't know. And it seems like maybe that's the way the plot was originally written to go, and that, like, you know, we're setting up Joker for a standalone movie. That he eventually gets, but this wasn't the way to get it. And so now we've got Birds of Prey. And so I think the DC universe is just breaking apart so that they can finish all of these and reassemble. Because Wonder Woman's coming out, but she's going back to, like, 1984. I think the Flash's movie is finally coming out. I think they completely reshot it at this point because it was supposed to come out, I think, 2 years ago. The Flash is the best. I love the Flash. And it's Ezra something. He's so cute.
I loved Will Smith in this, but I can see your point. It did kind of become about him, and his backstory wasn't that great.
Boring.
It was boring. I mean, he has a daughter, and he doesn't want her to know.
Doesn't like Batman.
He doesn't do this, and he likes to kill, or that he kills. He doesn't want her to know that he kills people, and he doesn't like Batman, and he's just a bad guy. But his backstory was pretty boring, and he still managed to be like, at the front of it.
Which makes it. It also makes it seem like they just didn't want a woman to lead the Suicide Squad. Because it seemed like this was Harley's squad to lead, and then they're like, I don't know, she's so small and big.
So let's talk Harley.
Insane. Yeah.
What do you think of the way that she was portrayed and the character as part of the Suicide Squad in DC?
I think that Margot Robbie did an exceptional job. I love the character of Harley Quinn. I love, and I'm hopeful that in Birds of Prey, like in Joker, we get a bit more of the psychological with that her diagnosis matches with her actions or supports her actions. Mm-hmm. I don't think she's a villain. I think I have a hard time calling people, with the exception of Joker, with like obvious mental health issues.
She has a mental illness. Yeah, she seems like she does.
Villains, because I was like, and what? Because the agency piece to me is flawed, and I was like, well, you're acting in alignment with your.
And then also again, it's always mental illness. Is portrayed.
She can't just choose to be doing bad shit.
In general, like it goes back to Manic Pixie Dream Girl, and it just seems like it's
a
portrayal
in the flashbacks.
Yeah,
she's Manic Pixie Dream Girl. She just wants to help him and grow him up and heal him in some way. Mm-hmm. Joker, and then that goes left.
I love the character. I loved Margot Robbie in it. I thought the whole thing was awesome. For movie watching, I loved her accent that she picked up.
I love the Harley Quinn accent.
It's sort of like that's a different voice than what you're speaking with before.
Well, yeah, that's the voice from the comic and from the cartoon.
Okay.
It's like a transatlantic Brooklyn accent.
But it sounds, why didn't she have any semblance of that as a psychiatrist?
Does she speak as a psychiatrist?
She just says, yes. And,
and
yes. But I mean, Harley Quinn would say yes.
Yeah. I do think it's partially, she's suffered severe brain damage.
Oh, okay. It's brain damage?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so I read a little. Well, okay. So
she goes. I mean, yeah. She suffers a lot of trauma.
She does.
Yeah.
So Margot Robbie's portrayal was awesome. I thought. It like I said, it was great. But I was curious, and this is just I don't see it. I'm conflicted about how to see it because we've talked about like femininity, and it's not bad to be feminine, and femininity obviously can be strength. So we don't need to make the women like men. But does she have to be wearing underwear the entire time? Which is fine. I mean, do your thing. And if that's what Harley wants to wear, and it looks like she picked out her outfit and what she wanted, which I love, included a bat.
Yeah.
She's just very, tactile in her killing. And I love that.
I was like, what's special about this bat? She weighs like 100 pounds.
She's just agile.
Seems like a bat. Like a regular...
It's a regular bat. And she's killing people with it. And it's kind of amazing. But so she chose that outfit. It wasn't a superhero outfit. So good for her. Her body was on fleek. She looked incredible. Fine. But it was just kind of like, so she has to be in underwear. The Enchantress has to, the Enchantress has to be in underwear. It's just an interesting little tidbit.
We're not escaping the male gaze in these portrayals. We
are not escaping the male gaze. But in terms of Harley's character, I read about it, and her character throughout the comics, and my God, I didn't know that her and Joker had been on and off for so long. So she was a psychiatrist in a prison where he was held.
At Arkham.
And he was her patient, and she just said, fuck this degree. I'm going to be with him. And then she falls in love and becomes like his sidekick / girlfriend. But he tries to kill her multiple times over the years. So there's definitely an abusive and volatile and dysfunctional relationship here. She tries to escape him a bunch of times, always goes back, dates Deadshot at one point, which I think is kind of hilarious. And then at one point she escapes to an island and is in a rehab and gets training from women living in the Amazon.
Yeah.
And so is that so is that what we're going to learn in Birds? We're going to see what she does. Yes. Yeah. So I love that kind of backdrop. She's always trying to get back on the good side and then can't. But she's an abuse victim.
Yes.
I mean, and so is Joker, I guess. I don't remember Joker's backstory, but I'm sure he is too. But I mean, she's in this domestic violence situation with her and Joker.
She is. It's definitely not a healthy relationship between her and Joker.
Which makes it great, but it's just an interesting, she's struggling. And her backstory was phenomenal, and they could have used a lot more of it in this.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that this wasn't more of Joker and Harley Quinn's story. Yeah. But I think that there's a very interesting parallel between Harley Quinn and the Enchantress and my number one SFL, Amanda Waller. She is everything, and she is pure blood villain.
SFL. It's your top build.
She is.
Does she have agency? Question, not necessarily because she has a bomb in her neck.
Yes.
Right.
But she is serving her own interest in that her ultimate goal is to get back to Joker. And so she's doing whatever she needs to do to get in position to get back to Joker.
But she has as much agency as the men do, just because of that, or the male villains.
Yeah.
But she does move the plot along.
Doesn't move the plot along.
She fucking does. She knifes the Enchantress. She's the one that gets the heart. That was the final thing.
But I don't think that
it's one incident, right? And then she jumps off and is hanging from the plane, and she moves the plot along for a second there. But, like, not a ton, but she does something. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that as a character, Harley Quinn is an SFL. I don't think this is her best light in Suicide Squad. I'm excited for Birds of Prey.
Oh, got it.
So I'm going to give her the SFL because I know that she's got more in her. In terms of agency, and we'll see her move things along more. I think this movie was reshot.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that aspects of this plot was changed. I thought everything was kind of weak in terms of, like, they just had to get a movie out because they had spent so much money on marketing.
Push it out.
I think in the rewrites, Harley Quinn should have had a bigger role and something was taken away from her, because why else focus on her so much? She could have just been Katana.
Right. She was awesome, and, like, the role was fun to watch, and she's a great character, but there was limits to her SFL quality. So far, we only have the Enchantress as an SFL, and now we're talking about Amanda Waller.
And I love the juxtaposition between Amanda Waller and, specifically, I'm going to go with Harley Quinn, in that bringing up something we talked about last week in the episode on with Villanelle and Killing Eve, is that one thing I like about Villanelle is that she is 100% a woman. She's 100%, pathological, but also a psychopath. But she is evil, and she's doing bad actions, in concert with her mental health, but it's because it's what she wants. It's what she wants to do. Whereas I feel like they cut Harley Quinn off at the knees by making her pretty damaged, and that's why she's doing bad things. She's not
pretty crazy.
She's pretty crazy, and that's why she's doing bad things. And then you've got Amanda Waller, who they completely desexualize in her taupe suits. Viola Davis is a gorgeous woman, and
beautiful.
They did not do her justice in this movie, which I thought
she's stunning.
Makes sense, because I think this is an all-males writer's room.
And it's not all about looks, and
it's
so
not,
that's the hard
thing. Femininity from her, and that's what I don't like. I love Amanda Waller's character. I think she's 100% SFL, 100% a villain. And I love this type of villain. I picked this movie because she's a different type of villain who is doing villainous actions in the name of country. I think everyone else kind of had their own motives or own reasons for joining Suicide Squad, because let's be honest, they could have said no.
Yeah, but the other option was just the same prison, and now at least they get to do what they're good at.
Yeah, but if you hate the world, why help them at all? Especially the guy with the fire, he would have survived most anything.
Yeah. Oh my god. His character was out of control.
I was like, he could have his own movie.
And those face tats, man. Jay Hernandez.
Yeah. Where did that guy keep going?
Getting it.
Yeah, I was like, you need to stay in Hollywood. I feel like he's one foot out the door all the time.
You need to stick around. I like what I saw. Other than the fact that you killed your wife and kids. But that's a character. Yeah, it was an accident.
It was.
Okay.
But I love Amanda Waller.
So, I agree. Strong female lead across the board. Don't even need to go over the categories or the qualifications. But I didn't really know she was a villain until the very end, and I didn't know why, because I don't have the background. I knew when she killed the people in her control room, that was a bit aggressive and fast, and
she's survival of the fittest, but completely sane. I love that she's sane.
It showed me that there is obviously a side to her, and even just the way she carried herself. Oh my god. I just look at my notes. I haven't even referred to them. Viola just shot her staff. Holy fucking shit. And then Gator, quote, I like her. He says that. Okay, so I was blown away when she did that, and then the guy working for her didn't seem that surprised.
No.
So there's something going on there, and it reminds me of when we talked about Villanelle and Eve, when Villanelle said to Eve, you go up high enough, we're working for the same people.
Exactly.
And so the thought crossed my mind, but I don't care about spoilers. Tell me what Amanda Waller is fucking about.
Well, Amanda Waller, I mean, what she did in the movie is who she is from what I know of her as a character is that she's a government official. She eventually moves over from, right now she's working for the U.S. government, and she starts working for a separate section of the government that's called Argus Laboratories. Argus, they do everything. But it's like
that's where she's working now in that movie.
No, right now she's working for like just the regular quote-unquote U.S. government.
Got it.
But then there's another group formed, which is Argus, which is a laboratory. They do advanced weapons and super soldiers and that kind of thing. And Amanda Waller, like, her motto, if I had to give her one, would be, like, maybe, like, the best case scenario or the best thing for the most people. She's not concerned with collateral damage.
No.
Which, to me, if given to any other character in this movie, would make them stand out as the supervillain. But because she's doing it for country, I think most people would give her a pass. But I was like, I feel like that's the most villainous action you can take, is to do these actions, like, without remorse and without, similar to Villanelle. She's doing all these things, mostly because she wants to, but then without remorse and without giving it a second thought, because she's doing it for, Villanelle, for her own good.
So does she have a backstory, though, is what I'm wondering. Do we know anything about Amanda Waller's backstory?
What do you mean? Like, where does she come from?
Yeah, like, what brought her to this place? Is that fleshed out in any of the other comics?
She's just a constant figure.
Oh, okay.
Just a military leader.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. No.
Dude, she was badass.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, there were times in the movie where it was clear people didn't take her seriously right away.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when she got off the plane and they were at the prison and the guard is like, hello, sir, how you doing? First addressing him, and he's like, suck up to her, she's the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Or Will Smith when they give him a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Which I knew she was batshit for sure then, because they were trying to recruit him, and they gave him a loaded gun.
Yeah.
And she was fine with whatever result occurred in that situation. And he ended up not killing all the guards and doing what they wanted him to do. But then he is talking to the guy, Flag, and then he's like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to your boss. And I don't know, Will Smith, his character went back and forth with saying shit about women, like the deaf hose comment, which is really bad, but not really bad, but it's really bad. This is a movie where these people are pieces of shit, and it doesn't make it okay, but it's a part, they're not trying to make them mindful of people and who they are. And so I get that, like, I don't watch every movie thinking, well, you need to be talking nice.
Yeah,
you need
this
to be
is problematic.
You need to be talking nicely. No, it's not, because it's a movie about supervillains. But it was interesting to me how he'd go back and forth between respecting women and not, and he just kind of like went back and forth. But anyways, they didn't take her seriously, and they really, really needed to.
They needed to, and I just love that Amanda Waller is not usually seen as the villain of this movie, because you've got the Suicide Squad supervillains, who really aren't that bad compared to, I mean, they don't have nearly as many kills as Amanda Waller.
Right.
Which, I'm judging that as to be the most villainous thing that you can do, is to end someone's life.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, I mean, I guess Harley has a couple kills in the movie, maybe two. I mean, Deathshot
the
is
fire
an assassin,
guy,
but
must have a lot just because he kills a lot with one. with
yeah,
one action.
He took out like a whole prison in that one scene.
I know, the prison yard. Oh God, but she was awesome. I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared.
Yeah, I was scared. I loved her. I just want them to give her back her femininity. I think there's something going on cognitively when men write women, and where you have to be broken, and that's why you can do bad things, or you have to be a man.
Yeah.
Or take on male characteristics in order to be that ruthless, because it doesn't want to be believed that a sane woman can do a villainous thing. And like, Amanda Waller toes the line.
But then I'm going to say this. At least I look at it in this day and age, in order to be feminine, you don't necessarily have to have the typical feminine characteristics. So just because she's wearing a suit, just because she has short hair, just because she's not, like, exhibiting that, there's a way that doesn't have to strip a woman of their femininity. Like, I see in terms of, like, a male writer's room and what they might be doing. But in general, I would hope that we're getting past. Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to exhibit all of the classic, quote-unquote, traits of femininity, but to display none of them, to me, is problematic.
Not as a person walking down the street, but as a character that has power. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, no, you can do whatever you want in your real life, but if you're portraying a female character on screen...
Why does it have to be like that?
Yeah, and you have it juxtaposed. It'd be different if it was just Amanda Waller's movie, because then we'd see her in all aspects of her life. But when you put Harley Quinn and the Enchantress juxtaposed against Katana, who's like a woman who's, I guess, barely there, but completely covered, but dead on the inside. Again, someone who's dead on the inside can't display feminine characteristics. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Do any of them.
Right. No, I get it. I'm just trying to, it's just interesting. Just in the world today and the way we talk about gender and gender identity. And it's just so funny that it's not like being feminine and being masculine. Either one is not better than the other, is not bad nor good. Well, they're both good, but like there's no, it's just interesting because of just the, the topical types of conversations and just how people can identify as so many different things. And so then talking about movies and then talking about the, like the stereotypical feminine qualities. It's so a part of just our thinking. It's hard to navigate, like, now what would be a good type of feminine for a strong character. You know what I mean? I'm all over the place.
I mean, I'm only working with what they're presenting Amanda Waller to be.
Right.
And in other representations of Amanda Waller, you get more of like because she's presented as a cisgendered female, I would expect her to present physically in some attribute as a cisgender female.
Yeah.
And to me, I think stripping that away and then not telling us that she is identifies some other way is strange. And
that makes sense. I guess I didn't really assume whether or not what she was identifying as. So then I'm thinking that way. But I guess if that is,
but if they would have presented her or
anything
that
else.
One line of dialogue would have changed my entire opinion of Amanda Waller. One line.
I know.
Yeah, if she said, anything. It's just she's had something written with her pronouns on it.
Right.
Anything. Anyone who addressed her, they would have addressed her as sir instead of anything. Would have given me a better indication of why this choice was made in terms of this character. But it seems the trend is, in order for a cisgendered female character to commit a heinous act, she needs to be made masculine.
Yeah.
Or crazy.
I would agree with you. It's such an interesting... I'm just so happy all of these things are out in the open and people are talking more about them because it's been going on for a long time. And, people who identify as something other than cisgender or, heterosexual they've been talking about it for a long time and they've been wanting this to become part of, the cultural conversation in the mainstream, and I'm happy that it is. And then it just is interesting to kind of see how we can look at movies differently now and maybe make assumptions. But it just, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. Well, that's
why we need more diversity in inside the room, not just on the screen. Because if they wanted us to think anything other than of any of these characters, other than how they present, it would have to be on the page. For us to intuit that, or made very obvious in their performance.
And that would have to be written by someone who is experiencing that firsthand, because that type of experience can't be written by, you know, a white man or even a man in the writer's room. And I know that
I can with research. I'm gonna include white. I hate excluding white men from the conversation because I feel like it absolves them of the responsibility that they have by excluding them. You're in the room. You just have more work to do than everyone else. What would you give Suicide Squad?
Oh my god. I loved it. I mean, just sometimes I don't know if our ratings are SFL or if they're just liking the movie.
I'm just gonna go grade for the movie.
And sometimes I just really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, this movie is, I would give it like a 4.
What?
I loved it. I now want to watch Birds of Prey. I'm now into Harley Quinn and her backstory, and I want to see her like rise from the ashes.
Yay.
And kick everybody's ass.
Yes. I'm very excited to see her, you know, have agency all over the place. And I'm like,
God.
yeah, and just be a badass because she can fight and she is like,
she's
cunning
totally
and
fearless.
Like, fearless.
So I want to see more of her, and I'd love if Amanda Waller like maybe ended up getting like, I know you think she's the ultimate supervillain because she's stealth, but it would be interesting if she like really just fucking got crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as like head of Argus, she like blows up planes like midair, and she's just like, she'll do anything to get her guy. And I'm like, I don't not respect that.
Yeah, 4 out of 5, 3.5 to 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same. I'm gonna give this 3.5 stars. Only because I'm like, out of 4, we only have 2 SFLs. Well, 2.5. 2 3/4 with Harley Quinn.
Yeah. I think it's enjoyability.
Yeah. I really like this. I think it's a good time. It didn't get great reviews, but it did really well at the box office. It's a good time. It's very watchable. If you like superheroes, or even if this is a good introductory film because you kind of get used to the pacing of a comic book movie. So fast. You gotta get so much exposition out, real, and backgrounds. And
I'm just like, you guys. Yeah, I don't. It's very fast. It's a little too fast for my brain.
Oh my god, we should really do Fast and the Furious. We should have my friend Ellen on to do Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Upwards of 3 women.
There's like 30 of them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to pick one.
Yeah. I think next year, 2020, there's a new Fast and the Furious coming out.
Perfect.
With more women in it, so I'm excited. Yeah, Charlize, I think. Halle Berry.
She's the best.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, you can find us on Instagram at StrongFemalePod.
And also tweet at us. We're SFL_Chicago on Twitter.
And we want you to rate, review, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll accept any kind of rating. 5 stars are encouraged. We want written ratings. Write something up. We don't care what it is. And we will read it.
Yeah.
We will read it aloud.
Yeah.
Think about that power. Yes, maybe we don't, maybe there's not thousands of people listening to this, and so thousands of people are not going to hear your review, but enough people will hear it.
Yeah.
And that's power.
It is. It is. And we will read it, whatever it is. Whatever it says.
It's so
Consider
scary.
it right.
We will though, because it's part of our agreement to you. This is a handshake. We're giving you a handshake right now. Okay, that's it.
That's it. Guys, thanks so much for listening.
Until next time. Bye. Bye.